So, day 5, a little update. I think I got to sneeze. Oh, it was robbed from me. Anyway, day 5, update. So, today's flashcard session was quicker and more accurate than yesterday. So, check this out. So, today I got through the full stack in about 15 minutes, which is even faster than yesterday's 20-minute run. So, 25% faster, right? Or 25% time saved. And I also got 33 out of 40 cards. I'm sorry, 33 out of 48 cards correct. So, just for a reference, yesterday I was at 31 of 48, which was already about a 60% success rate. So, now we're looking at 69% recall and it's speeding up. I was able to get through the pile dramatically faster, 25% faster. I mean, that's 15 minutes instead of 20. That's a good little jump. The fact that it was faster and more accurate shows that we are progressing on all fronts. So my brain's also starting to recognize patterns and fill in gaps before I even read the card fully. It's not perfect, but it's smoother and it's more natural. And that's what we're aiming for. Um, Another note is that with that remaining 5 minutes, I could have immediately taken the yes pile and flipped it over and worked from the on the production side or the second phase of memorization, where I'm looking at my current language, my base language, and then remembering how to say and how to spell it in my target language, which is much harder, which is like true memorization, not just recognition, but production. You're able to pull the things out of your brain. That's like, that's why some people will tell you, like, oh, I can read and I can understand, but I can't speak the language very well. That's because they haven't worked on their production. So that also explains why I never understood that. And I always thought it was kind of a scam. I'm like, how can you read and listen, but you can't write very well or speak? Well, that's because that's production. And another reason why I never understood that is because from day one I was using flashcards. So without knowing it, I had a method that was training all four of those skills in the two main pathways, which are production and recognition. So without knowing it, I had a method that was superior to whatever they were doing, which may have been a more traditional classroom setting. And yeah, so basically, I skipped that phase of like, oh, I can listen pretty well and I can read, but I can't really speak and I can't really make sentences. That's production. And that's what using these flashcards is going to help you to do. So, just kind of a little forward on where I'm going to start going next. Obviously from the like one or two little verbs that I have in the present tense and memorizing little simple things like I like reading, I know how to swim, little things like that. Obviously, I'm going to start going to the past tense, but there's another thing I was thinking about yesterday, which is why a little bit of human input still matters. So we're using all these AI tools, we're using Google Translate to help us move along quickly. But in some cases of like expressions and interjections, like, what? Oh my God. Or, oh, wow. Things like that. So while AI and flashcards are great for helping you build vocabulary and build out your structure, your lesson structure, if I will, of what you're going to start memorizing. Little natural sounding words and emotional expressions like ew, what, no way. They don't always show up in a textbook or in AI generated content. By the way, purchasing a little textbook would not be a bad idea. And then immediately pulling that information out of the textbook. So you're using that just as a source to go ahead and make your cards. Sure, read the page. Go ahead and read it. It's not going to hurt you, but get the info out of the book and onto your cards as quick as possible so that you are producing, you are writing, and you're reading ASAP. Um, so, yeah, this is when it really helps to either find a YouTube channel with a native speaker or a language teacher in that language. You can also search for phrases. Uh, you can also search on Google for things like interjections in language. And Google should take you to some people's blogs. Blogs are a great way. Blogs or language websites that were written by humans, some things like that. Uh, they're going to be free and they are going to give you the resources that you need to succeed. So that's how you can start picking up on little things like an emotional tone of voice, filler words, and casual slang, little expressions, things like that. So, because I mean, you may know how to say 500 sentences, you may know how to conjugate 500 verbs, but if you can't say something like oof or come on, man, in your target language, it's going to feel robotic. It's not going to feel natural. Little words like that make you sound human, and they're fun to learn too. Sound effects, little things like that. Some of these interjections are purely sounds. They have no, it's technically not a word, although it does have meaning and it is a sound that you create with your mouth. So in theory, it is a word. It's just not in the dictionary. Now, kind of going back to the concept of the spaced recognition, um, something I had a thought today as well. We can immediately throw in the space recognition now because, like, this is the second or the third time I've gotten through the entire pile. And instead of going back through all of the yeses, I can go through the no's one more time. So instead of, like I was saying earlier, instead of flipping over the yes pile and going through them on the opposite side, I would go through the no pile, which is very, very small in comparison to the entire pile of cards. So with that, in that 15-minute period, you got 5 minutes left technically, or whatever. You may take 20 minutes to get through it. It doesn't matter because you're still making progress. Progress is better than perfection. But I'm going to actually do this. I will now go back to the no pile and I'll run through it again now that I've seen the answer on the backside. I looked at the front. I tried to remember. I did say it. I pronounced it and I read it. I tried to remember what it means in my base language. Failed and put it in the no pile. So now I'm going to take that no pile. I'm going to go back through it on the same side, on the recognition side. That means that I am actually doubling up or even tripling up if you have the time to go through it a third time and convert some of them to yeses, or even leave it in a pile, set aside the yes pile and immediately have just the no pile, go through it as you would normally, and then whenever you have successes, put them in a separate yes pile. So you're making a new pile. You're setting aside the easy wins and you're focusing on the things that are sticking, that are not sticking yet. And then you're going to make a yes and a no pile from that. And then you go through it and you say, okay, well, these are now yeses. So then I would grab the no pile again. So that's what I would actually do. So the second or third time, once your big yes pile gets to about almost 70%, I would say, when it's like when the no's are like a quarter of the deck, I would say, because we don't have to be precise here. You don't have to count your cards. You don't have to time yourself. I'm doing that just to share with you my progress. But once you see that your no pile is getting very small, I would focus just on the no's and then run through them twice real quick with that remaining time that you have. And then, so I just ran through the whole deck one time in the morning. I'm going to sit aside my yeses. Now I'm going to run through my no pile. Some of those are going to convert to a new success pile. And then some of them are going to continue going into a no pile. All right. Well, then I would sit aside the new successes and I would grab the remaining no pile and I would go through it again. So basically, your worst phrases, words, sentences that are not just aren't sticking right now, you're going to go through them 3 times in a 20-minute session. And this is really easy to do. It doesn't require a lot of thought. It doesn't require timing yourself. It doesn't require, you might actually want to, it's not that hard just to time yourself on your phone or use your watch, time yourself, and then maybe write down a daily progress of how many cards you got right out of the pile and how long it took you. It's kind of cool to do that to see how you're growing. But it's not necessary. In fact, I don't necessarily recommend that. If this is your first language, your second language that you're learning, or if you're just really busy and have a lot to worry about and already feel like kind of overwhelmed with your life right now, then don't do that. Don't do it. Just naturally go through the cards. But do learn to split the cards up and go back through the pile that's giving you difficulty again and again. And to keep splitting that pile into more piles. So, yeah, anyway, that's day 5 for you. As you can see, the flashcard rhythm is speeding up. My recall is also increasing. I'm starting to think a little bit in the target language more every day. And now I'm layering in that extra human touch, or I will begin to do so rather. Those little moments that make you sound natural and not just correct. So, anyway, that's it for today. If you've got a favorite interjection or expression in your target language, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. These things are always super interesting and entertaining to hear about. Or if you found a new YouTube channel that teaches these kinds of casual phrases and sayings, share it. Let us know. I'm always looking for new tools. I'm always interested to hear what languages people are speaking or learning. So let me know below in the comments. And again, like and subscribe if this video has been helpful to you. I intend to continue sharing my progress and my tips and just the things that I'm learning in the process so that you can accompany me on this journey. So, thank you for watching. This is day 5, and you guys have an excellent day.